There's so much energy flying around here. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get centered before I start, okay? So whatever you got in your hands, just put it on your lap for a minute, open up your arms, let your heart chakra open, okay? And I want you to close your eyes and just take a couple of nice, slow, deep, even centering breaths. Okay, that's better, isn't it? Yes? All right, thank you for being here. You know, and I always like to say, I realize there are any number of places you could be right now, but you're not, you're here. And I'm so grateful for that. I honor you for taking the time out to spend with me. It's such a gift, and again, I'm very grateful. My name is Karon Korp. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. This is the only city we will do this in this year, Columbus. We love Columbus. We love the energy here, and we think you guys are wonderful. I have a lot of information to share with you today. I have a deep affinity for the Mayan culture. So we're going to be talking about 2012, the ascension process that's happening to all of humanity. And I also want to talk more about the Maya. Last year, I did a very extensive presentation on the Mayan culture, and the History Channel, which we watch all the time, does not have it correct. I'm sorry. And somebody's going to talk with them about that. There's so much more information than what's being given, and the information that's out there is incorrect. So I am the author of Remembering Our Spiritual Journey Home, the 12 Keys for Awakening the Memory of Who You Are and Why You're Here. The keys were an incredible gift that were given to me a couple of months after a booming voice came into my bedroom in the middle of the night and said, there are 12 keys for you to know. And the keys in the book continue reaching people and touching people and changing lives, and I do have them here today and have them available. Talk about all kinds of stuff, the soul's highest potential, co-creation, energy, mass, and light equals MC squared, your spiritual blueprint, so many things. But the Maya teaching specifically interests me, fascinates me. It's not just the culture, but the wisdom embedded in the culture, and certainly the wisdom for our times. I have been studying the Maya culture for 16 years. I've been to 19 Mayan sites in 4 countries. I speak Spanish fluently. It's like it's in my DNA. So they have this amazing wisdom to share with us now, and it's very timely. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, not just 2012 and Ascension, but what do the Maya have to teach us today? So think about it for a minute. What does Ascension mean? Everyone is talking about it. But what does Ascension mean? Well, Webster says it's a verb. It's to move upwards, to rise. But what's really going to happen when we ascend? You know, there are a lot of people, right? Millions and millions of Christians who believe it's going to be like the rapture. Then there are the people who think that they're going to get beamed up into ships, right? Beam me up, Scotty. What if it's nothing more than moving through the photon belt and you realize, all right, the photon belt, even if it's in a different dimension, we've been going through it, have been pulled through it since 1999. On the other side of the photon belt is called the null zone. What if beyond that there's a brand new electromagnetic spectrum that we're moving through that's going to enable us to redeem the original creation of light from 15 billion years ago, which represents the manifestation, our bodies, our physical universe. Who can really say how this process is going to unfold? It's going to be different for all of us, but I can tell you one thing. Our beliefs dictate our experience, and you all understand this and know this. We know that what we believe creates our reality. So whatever belief structures or belief patterns we are holding in our consciousness surrounding ascension and surrounding what 2012 represents, that's what we're going to experience. One shall take a deep breath. One should be conscious of your breathing over the next 45 minutes and really oxygenate your brains and your bodies, okay? So what beliefs are we holding? What thought patterns? How do we move beyond this idea of ascension only happened to Christ and it's, the whole Christian symbology of what ascension is, in understanding that it's a rising of vibratory frequency, moving beyond limiting belief structures, limiting belief patterns, and that's what we're all getting ready to experience. Who will you be? How will your life be once you've ascended? What does it mean to ascend? These are all very good questions for us to ponder. Now, last year, I taught extensively on the Maya, and as a matter of fact, I have this fabulous video on the Maya that covers all their culture, the Mayan calendar, just incredible information. Again, I've been researching it for 16 years, and I do have these available. But I'm really curious to know, beyond the advancement of their civilization, the monumental architecture, the whole nature of their culture and civilization is so advanced, we're still studying and learning about that. Moving beyond that, what do we have to see and what do they have to teach us today? Now, how many of you have not attended a lecture by me before? I'm curious. Ooh, wow. I am so glad to see you guys. Thank you for being here. I want to tell you right now about that pesky calendar, the Mayan calendar. You have to understand that archaeologists have found as many as 18 different calendars that the Maya used. Not one that's going to end on a very specific date, but as many as 18 different calendars that the Maya used. Now, the particular count that's getting ready to end is a 5,125-year period. It's called the long count. But researchers can't even agree on when this particular long count period began, which means that they can't agree on when it's going to end. Now, everyone has in their mind December 21st, 2012. It's not correct. Carl Johann Kalaman, one of the leading Mayan researchers, says the ninth wave in the end of the galactic underworld, which is the period that's getting ready to end, October 28th, 2011. Wow, I know. Yeah. Oh, that's soon. Okay, so again, what are we holding in our consciousness that may not be true at all when we're all feeling the shift in our lives? And that's part of what we're going to be talking about. And let me just share with you a picture of a stela at Coba, Mexico. I was there 2 years ago. Now, most Mayan long counts are written with 5 notational points. There are 5 different periods. This particular stela at Coba has 23 notational time points, which means that the Maya were counting 1,000,000 years into the future, and they left it on this stela at Coba, which is near Tulum, which I'm sure many of you have been to. If you've been on a cruise ship, it's on the coast. It's very dramatic. It's a very special site. Coba is very close to it. It's a much older site. This stele counts to 1,000,000 years into the future. And I just want to make mention that my Vanna over here, my friend Amy, is going to be sending around a sign-up sheet. I do a monthly newsletter. I talk about Mayan energies, galactic tones, Mayan sun signs, write a blog, affirmations. It's a free newsletter. And so sign up. You can unsign at any time. I like to support people in their journey. I took the summer off. You'll find out why in just a minute. So again, calendars, Maya had 18. It's only one that's going to be ending, and they can't even agree when that's going to happen. So, depending on the flow today, I'm barely even going to talk about the calendar. It's done. I do want to talk very briefly about the myth of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, which some of you heard, and the symbolism. But I want to talk about the year that we're completing now, 2011. This has been a preparatory year. There's no question that shift and transformation is occurring and that 2012 is really, really important. But the future is calling us to transformation now. How is this coming shift going to be expressed? How is it being expressed in your life? Can you feel the change occurring within you, in your hearts? All of you are feeling the shift in energies, shift in consciousness, shift in way we see things and how we react in our relationships, in our jobs, in our home. So I'm curious with you, and I want you to know, Paramahansa Yogananda, he was such a wonderful teacher, I want you to understand that where there is light, no darkness can exist, which means in the energy of truth, the fear cannot exist. So if we move forward from this point in the energy of light, in the energy of truth, then there cannot be darkness and there cannot be fear. Why are we here? And I'm not just, talking about an absolutely gorgeous day in Columbus on Sunday, October 9th. Why are we here? What is it that we have come here to do? Because we are entering the time that has been prophesied. We have arrived. We have absolutely arrived. So why is it that we're here? Yes, to transcend illusion, to move above and beyond this third dimensional reality, to unify consciousness. How many of you are beginning to experience what's called unity consciousness, where you feel a kinship of oneness with everything? You can feel it. Yes, excellent. I am so excited, goosebumps. We're really entering into that time called unity consciousness, where the walls of separation are coming down. We are evolving, of course, toward our true nature, our authentic selves, to redeem the original light creation. So I want to ask you about 2011 and just tell you a little bit about my year. For those of you who don't know, in February I was diagnosed with breast cancer. In March I had a mastectomy. And then they had to take me back into the surgery the next day. So once apparently was not enough. And then, after I started chemotherapy, I developed a rash when all of my hair fell out. And then I developed a blood clot from the port that they put under my collarbone. That was a lot of fun. And then I got lymphedema from the mastectomy surgery. And the whole time, I'm saying, why is this happening? I couldn't understand. I didn't have any history of it in my family. It was really a remarkable experience. The most difficult, most challenging thing I have ever embraced in my life. And I am here to tell you, thank God. Thank God. It was such a gift. Cancer was the most remarkable thing to happen to me. It stripped my body. It stripped my ego. It stripped my identity. It stripped my old life away. It took everything that was non-essential. And what was left was my divinity, my authentic self, the person that I came here to be. Light entered my body and got rid of the darkness that was there. And that's what that experience was. And it blows me away. And I am so blessed and so grateful. And I am here to tell you that we are stripping our lives away to reveal our divinity, our authentic selves. And that's part of what your ascension is about. It's about letting go of what no longer works. Pretty amazing. So, divine light is entering all of creation. This is the Sun Dagger from Chaco Canyon. The ancients knew this time was coming. This is actually a carving on a rock, and on the solstice, the light shaft pierces the image that they have drawn. This is what's happening to all of us. We are being pierced by light, and it's dispelling all darkness. That's what I experienced. That's what's happening to all of us. So how do we integrate the teachings of the ancients? They prophesied this time of transformation, not on a particular day, but they knew this evolution and transformation was occurring. I will tell you that our DNA is being changed. And I talk about this in the book, actually. Our DNA is being changed by the light encodements that are happening. So what is the context of our personal spiritual evolution in light of what's happening not only around the world, but what's happening multidimensionally in the universe? What is the context for each one of us of our own spiritual journey, of our own transformation, of light coming into our lives and coming into our bodies. How is that shift going to be expressed? And what do the Maya have to teach us today, the Maya who flourished for 4,000 years? What do they have to teach us today? What if, as many have said, including Edgar Casey, that past, present, and future all coexist? Time is only relative in the third dimension. It doesn't exist. So what are the Maya teaching us? What do they speak to us in their carvings of stone? That's what interests me. They left their carvings and their pyramids for us for a reason. Now, many of you have been to Chichen Itza. Show of hands, those of you who've been to Chichen Itza. Okay, good. It's an incredible sight. Then you know the Temple of Kukulkan is an astronomical calendar that many suggest it shows the evolution of consciousness that we've been going through the 9 levels, each of those steps. And at the very, very top, time is compressed. How many of you feel like time is folding? It's like things are happening faster and faster and faster. Yeah, okay. It's time compression. And the Maya knew this and put this in their pyramids. They knew this time period was going to be happening. And this is the energetic waves that we've been moving through. Again, the Maya have so much to teach us, and especially since that consciousness is present now, I think we have a lot to learn from it. The Maya lived in close affinity with nature. They lived close to the earth. They watched her signs. They received her messages. You know, we can get so busy and so wrapped up in our lives and our jobs and our offices and our homes that we sometimes lose that connection with nature. Which is the earth is vibrating faster and faster and higher, and we've lost that connection with her. The Maya were constantly engaged in the cycles of nature, the seasons and the movements of heavens. That teaching of nature will bring you into higher awareness. I want to share a story with you. We live in Western North Carolina. We have a lot of bears, a lot of black bears. They come by the house all the time. We were driving home one day, and across the road ran this frail, little, emaciated little bear cub, and you could see that he was wounded, and he was dragging a leg, and his fur looked mangy. And oh, my heart, it just broke, seeing him emaciated and thin with no mother, and knowing there was no possible way he's going to survive the coming winter. This little bear cub is not going to survive. And then it dawned on me, I thought, my goodness, if I could have that much compassion for this little bear cub, couldn't I have that much compassion for myself? How many of you have deep, deep, abiding compassion for yourselves? Good for you. It's awesome. And so many people forget, we're always helping other people. We're always doing things for other people. We forget to have compassion for ourselves. And this little bear cub reminded me at that point in my journey that it's time for us to have compassion for ourselves, for the work that we're doing here, and for the healing that's required for all of us to move forward. The Maya saw the expression of the divine in all things. Everything in their world was an expression of spirit, realizing that spirit animated everything. They had deities for everything, representing all the various facets for source. Again, we can get so busy in our lives, we remove ourselves from the fact that spirit is expressing in everything all the time, all around us. We forget that. The Maya saw the potential of integrating our divinity into form. And I have 2 really interesting slides to show you. The Maya put at their archaeological sites, in their temples, in their pyramids, this representation of divinity coming into form, coming into human form. And that's exactly what we are doing. This is a picture, if you've been to Tulum, those of you who've been to Tulum, again, so dramatic on the coast. They call it the diving bee god. He's up at the top on one of the temples. But clearly you see an upside down diving down, okay? And this is how they expressed God, their idea of the Creator coming into human form, divinity coming into human form. This is a fabulous photo, and I actually took this. This is at Ekbalam, which again, it's about 2 hours outside of Cancun. Now look at these guys. This is at the top of a very, very high pyramid. See the guys with the wings on the back? Those are not ceremonial feathers or ceremonial headdresses. These are divine beings having manifested into human form, integrating divinity into human form. And this is how they expressed them at Ekbalam. So the Maya had this idea that this was the potential of all things, of integrating our divinity into human form. Another interesting thing, the Maya universe, their idea or conception of it is very similar to the science of mind. How many of you are familiar with Science of Mind and Ernest Holmes' work? Okay. This is a tablet from the Tree of Life. I think this is from Palenque, which is up in the Chiapas Highlands. The Maya universe had 3 levels. They had heaven, they had earth, which represented man's life on earth, and then they had the underworld. Very, very similar teaching to the science of mind, which teaches, and this is the new teaching symbol that the science of mind has embraced. At the very top, you see spirit, cause, universal oneness, and that energy moving down into the middle where the law, the medium of thought and power. Everything comes from spirit. It comes into manifestation. The law always says yes, and at the bottom of that is the body of man, cause and effect, manifestation. So the Maya universe, with 3 levels, aligns with the teaching of science of mind, again with 3 levels, all coming from the top, from the heavens, into cause, all right, and into manifestation. I found that fascinating that the Maya would have known that. The Hunaku, many of you have seen this symbol before. This is how the Maya represented what they considered to be source energy. You could also call God or creator. I refer to source in my book as sacred, omnipresent, universal, radiant, compassionate energy, source. This is how the Maya represented Hunaku, the one source, which they called the giver of all movement and measure. It was everything in life for the Maya was animated. Many people see the dark swirl as the dark rift in our Milky Way galaxy. Take a deep breath. Interestingly, who is the primal word and sound of all creation? Ask a mystic what who means, and they will tell you that who means the primal word and sound of all creation. It's the language of the supreme being, the name of the nameless. And the Maya used this name, this energy, this sound to describe source, creator, oneness. The Maya understood the concept of the void, and from the void, creation. The Maya were the first to use 0 as a numerical equivalent. They used 0 in their mathematics and their calendrical calculations. Now, the long count date that we are getting ready to complete, you can see how it's written, right? 5 points. We're completing the 13th Baktun, which is a period of 144,000 days. And when this 13 turns over, that new notation will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's the beginning of the new long count. Now, I can tell you, the last time we were down in the Yucatan, we went to 2 sites, Ekbalam and Kobach, and we were there with a staff researcher for National Geographic. And we asked the Maya, what are you going to be doing December 21st? And they said, we're having parties. We're throwing parties. And, we had some people with the group, no, the world's going to end. And the Maya said, no, the calendar is ending. One calendar is ending, but it's a new beginning. So the Maya see this period that's ending as an incredible shift in consciousness, and that a whole new world, a whole new environment, a whole new evolution is set to begin as this calendar turns over. So the Maya aren't focused on the ending. The Maya are focused on the beginning. And let me tell you something. You've heard about the Mayan Elders that are outperforming sacred site activations at 52 sites around the world every full moon. Do you know where they're going to be on the 12th? Serpent Mound. Yes, Right here. And I thought, well, how cool that I get to deliver a Maya teaching, and the Mayan elders and their emissaries, I don't know what time, are going to be at Serpent Mound on the 12th, activating that sacred site. They've picked 52 sites around the world to go and perform these ceremonies. I've been to 17 of the sites that they are activating. So there's October 12th is the next full moon, and the Maya do this every full moon. And I put this information in my newsletter. You'll get my next newsletter since you signed up today. So every month I let you know what site they're going to be at, because you can connect energetically with any site around the world where these activations are occurring. So it's like they're turning on lights, okay? And they're anchoring vibrational frequency. They are uplifting the planet. Take a deep breath. Right now, all of you are adding to that frequency that they are getting ready to activate at Serpent Mound on the 12th. Each and every one of you are adding your energy and your consciousness to that activation that's occurring. How blessed are we? How fortunate are we? Incredibly blessed. Now, I want to remind you, the Maya were victims of their own success. Like us, they depleted their resources. They suffered from overpopulation. There were greed and wars and power struggles. They had changing climates and drought. They abandoned their large cities and pyramids, and honestly, the archaeologists can't really explain why, except for that. They depleted their resources, about 850, 900 AD, give or take. They abandoned these huge city centers that some cover 6, 7, 8 square miles and had as many as 150,000 to 200,000 people living in these city centers. They abandoned them. They don't know why. So I want to ask you right now, take a deep breath and contemplate what isn't working in our lives that it's now time for us to abandon so that we can move forward. What isn't working for us? It's an important question. Even with all their knowledge, they abandoned their cities because they knew it wasn't working. So part of this shift that we're experiencing, this speeding up, this compression of time, this movement into new ways of being, it's about letting go of the old thought patterns, old belief systems, old relationships, old ways of doing things, in order for us to be stripped away and to come forward in our authenticity and our divine selves, our divine natures. That's what we're doing. Humanity's ascension is timed with evolutionary cycles. It's true. Let me tell you something else. You know that galactic alignment that's supposed to be happening that's going to line up with the center of our universe? No, it started happening in 1980. It's called the precession of the equinoxes, and it takes 36 years. It doesn't happen on one particular day. The sun moves through the ecliptic, and it's the end of a 26,000-year precessional cycle. Now, the important thing that people are really saying is more important is that December 21st, 2012, the solstice occurs at 11:11 universal time. That is true. And people are calling it a cosmic coordinate. They're saying, and again, who knows? Who really knows? But they're saying that a shift is going to occur for those who have not already moved into unity consciousness, who have not already begun their ascension process. That 11:11 is going to be a trigger. So I want you to look at these numbers because I've written this for you two different ways, okay? 11/11/12/21/2012 or 11/11/21/12/2012. Look at those numbers. Do they trigger anything inside of you when you look at those numbers? 11/11/12/21/2012. Barcodes. I love it. I love it. That's great. Yeah, it probably is. Okay, so again, this galactic alignment, it actually will occur over a 36-year period. We're already over halfway through it now. The important thing about December 21st, 2012 is when the solstice occurs, and that occurs at 11:11. So the Maya bridge of consciousness is now being built. It is bringing forward the golden age. It is about integrating light into darkness so that darkness no longer exists. The center of our solar system, as you know, is populated by a black hole that they discovered in 2006. It's called Sagittarius A. Light is going to be penetrating to the very core of our galaxy, just as light is going to be penetrating to the very core of our own beings. That's this bridge of consciousness from where we are now to the very center of our galaxy. That whole connection is going to be made, and we are part of it. The Maya mythology surrounding Quetzalcoatl and the feathered serpent, the teaching of that is about our path to illumination. It's about healing duality for all time. Think about a serpent. Serpent crawls on the ground. Think about something with feathers. Feathers fly in the heaven. The teaching of Quetzalcoatl is an understanding that heaven and earth are going to be joined, that duality will no longer exist, that separation will no longer exist. So when you hear about the feathered serpent, that's what I want you to envision and to think about. I want to tell you why the Yucatan is so important to us now, and most people do not know this. How many of you have or have seen a book called The Keys of Enoch? Oh, good. A couple of you. Excellent. Hard to get. And you can't read it cover to cover. It's too difficult. Too much information. Yeah, it is. The Keys of Enoch shows that the Yucatan was the area of original implanting of codes and knowledge for the time that we're in now, called the return of the dove. It is the consciousness time zone for this particular creation, and it holds the keys to light and grids that will be activated. Grids not only in the earth that will be activated, but grids that will be activated in our body. And I want to show you, this is called the areas of the return of the dove. This is a map of the United States, and you can see superimposed over that, and this is from the Keys of Enoch. You can see the form of the dove and her head, her crystalline head, where all of the knowledge was implanted for this particular awakening, for this consciousness time zone, for this cycle of evolution, were implanted in the Yucatan Peninsula. So that's why the Maya teaching is so very important when we allow ourselves to embrace a higher understanding. And then I want to share with you the pyramidal grids where this implanting occurred, where those consciousness time zone coded frequencies are being activated now. So this is a picture of the pyramidal grids in the Yucatan Peninsula. And for any of you who have been down there and have walked the land, have contributed your energy and your consciousness. So I want you in your meditations to begin connecting with the Yucatan, to really connect your energy to the pyramids, to the temples, and to those codes that have been implanted there. So our power is now. Our absolute power is now, because this moment holds the opportunity for the complete healing of all separation, the healing of all discordant thought patterns, all lower energy forms, all limiting mental and emotional structures, because as the vibratory frequency continues to raise, and it is, as time continues to speed up, and it will, as we continue to shift and to move and to strip away layers and to have that which no longer serves us fall away in our lives, we have to understand that the power is now. And it's time to move into our hearts. Absolutely time. And I found this quote by Deepak Chopra, and I thought that it said exactly what needed to be said. I know for my own self, having healed my body and my heart this year. Healing your own heart is the single most powerful thing you can do to change your world. Your own transformation will enable you to withdraw so completely from evil that you contribute to it not by one word, one thought, or one breath. This healing process is like recovering your soul. That's the end of duality, the end of separation, when you fully and completely recover your soul, your higher self, your dimensional selves. That's what we're moving toward, and that's what we're doing. So I have two things that I want to share with you, and I will be signing books up here. I'm in booth 105 in the North Hall. If you haven't been by our booth, we have beautiful treasures to share with you, as well as my books and DVDs if I don't have time afterward. But I have two things I want to share with you. The first is called the Divine Light Invocation, given by Swami Shivananda Radha before she ascended. And I have it in the book. I have prayers and affirmations after every key. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to do this invocation with me. Say it after I've said it. And I want you to close your eyes and really feel this. Use this every day. I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am protected by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light. I am ever growing into divine light. That's called the Divine Light Invocation, given to us by Swami Shivananda Radha. It's in her Mantras, Words of Power book. And there's one other thing that I want to teach you before I sign off today. And again, I'm so very, very grateful for your spending time with me today. I want to teach you how to become more heart coherent. Have you heard about heart coherence and heart math? You can be anywhere, anytime, in any stressful situation or drama, and you can move yourself right into your heart, because the more time you spend in your heart, the more expanded you become, the more you enter into unity consciousness. So place your hand on your heart. Place your hand on your heart, and I just want you to breathe. You can keep your eyes open, you can close them. I want you to breathe into your heart and just put your consciousness to your heart. Feel your heart and breathe into it. Put your consciousness in your heart. And all of a sudden, you should feel this soft energy coming down around you and around your auric field. Feel this soft energy moving through your body. That is the math of the heart coherence. Do this every day. Anytime you're in stressful situations, difficulty, dramas, put your hand on your heart, breathe into your heart, move your consciousness there, and it immediately shifts your energy. So yes, the Maya have quite a bit to teach us today, and we have so much to teach one another. And I want you to know how grateful I am for your being here, and for the light that you carry, and for the work that you do, for the mission that you're here accomplishing, for all the ways that you touch people's lives and you serve the planet. I honor you, and I thank you. Namaste.